There comes a moment in every life when the familiar begins to suffocate. You know the moment, when the air feels too thick, the walls too close, the rhythm of your days too predictable. On the surface, nothing is wrong. The bills are paid, the routine is intact, the small comforts are within reach. And yet, something deep inside whispers, this is not enough. That whisper is not your enemy. It is the oldest voice in the human soul, the same voice that drove explorers to sail off the map, inventors to gamble their lives on ideas that could fail, and visionaries to defy the age they lived in. It is the voice calling you toward discomfort. Most people hear it and turn away. They tighten their grip on the life they know. They hide behind the illusion that safety is the goal, that comfort is the prize. But here's the truth the world rarely speaks aloud. Comfort is a slow death. It is a velvet-lined coffin, beautiful to rest in, impossible to grow in. Growth only happens where there is friction. The muscle does not strengthen without resistance. The mind does not sharpen without challenge. The soul does not deepen without trials. And yet, the majority spend their days running from the very conditions that could forge them into something greater. Edison didn't invent the light bulb by staying warm in the glow of someone else's lamp. He failed, thousands of times, burning through materials, nights, and energy until the idea became reality. Lincoln did not lead a nation by staying in the comfortable chambers of a quiet life. He stepped into a storm that tore the country apart, and in that storm, his character became unshakable. Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Ford was told the automobile would never replace the horse. They all had the choice to retreat into the familiar, but instead, they walked willingly into the wilderness. The wilderness is uncomfortable. It is unpredictable. It will test you in ways you do not want to be tested. And yet, that is where transformation happens. That is where you stop living as a shadow of what you could be and start becoming the architect of your own life. But you must make a choice. Will you cling to the known, or will you step into the unknown, knowing it will hurt, knowing it will shake you, but knowing it will grow you? Most wait for the right time to be uncomfortable, as if such a thing exists. They think they'll leap when they feel ready, when the fear subsides, when the stars align. But here's the truth, you will never feel ready. You will never feel safe enough to take the leap. You must leap while you are afraid, while your knees shake, while you doubt yourself, because courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in spite of it. The mind will try to seduce you with excuses. Now is not the time. You have too many responsibilities. What if you fail? But if you listen too long, your life will slip quietly into mediocrity. One day, you will look back and realize you traded your potential for convenience. You traded the raw, untamed, dangerous beauty of growth for a padded cell of routine. The discomfort you avoid today will become the regret you carry tomorrow. So, if you want to grow, if you truly want to break the limits that hold you, stop chasing comfort. Begin chasing the very things that scare you. Walk toward the projects that make your stomach twist. Have the conversations you've been avoiding. Step into the roles you feel unqualified for. Throw yourself into the deep end before you know how to swim. Because here is the paradox, the more you embrace discomfort, the more comfortable you become in life itself. You begin to trust yourself. Not because the storms stop coming, but because you learn you can weather them. You stop craving a life without struggle and start craving a life without limits. And that shift, when it happens, is irreversible. You no longer measure your days by how easy they were, but by how much they stretched you, how much they demanded from you, how much they revealed in you. When you start living that way, you realize, the discomfort was never the enemy. It was the invitation. The mind is the first battlefield. Before you lift a finger, before you take a step, before you attempt anything that matters, the war begins in your own head. And if you lose there, you will lose everywhere else. You can walk into a challenge with all the skill in the world, but if you've already decided you're not enough, you've surrendered before the fight begins. That's why discomfort destroys so many, they mistake the pressure for proof they don't belong, instead of recognizing it as the birthplace of belonging. Every great revolution, whether in a nation or in a single human life, begins with belief. Not belief in the world as it is, but belief in the world as it could be. And belief is not wishful thinking, it is the stubborn decision to hold your ground when every external sign says you should give up. Think of the Wright brothers, two bicycle mechanics with no formal engineering training, trying to build a machine the world said was impossible. They didn't have credentials, they had conviction. And that conviction kept them in the wind and sand, experimenting, failing, and starting again, until the impossible took flight. Belief is not built in the calm. It is built when you're ankle deep in uncertainty, when you're working through the night with nothing but your own conviction to keep you awake. That's why discomfort is essential. It strips away every illusion of control and leaves you with only two choices: quit or believe harder. Most choose to quit because belief requires more than positive thinking. It requires clarity. And clarity is rare in a world drowning in noise. Clarity is knowing what you stand for, knowing why you are willing to suffer, and knowing the vision you are willing to crawl toward even when you cannot yet see the horizon. Without that clarity, discomfort feels like punishment. With it, discomfort becomes training. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations from a place of luxury, he wrote them while leading armies, while enduring sickness, while carrying the weight of an empire. He knew that without clarity, a person is tossed by every storm. But with clarity, even the strongest winds can be harnessed. Clarity is the compass. Discomfort is the terrain. And you are the traveler who must decide whether to follow the compass through the wilderness, or abandon it for the false safety of staying put. But here is the truth: staying put is an illusion. Life will bring discomfort to your door whether you seek it or not. Death, loss, change, these are inevitable. The only question is whether you will meet discomfort as a stranger or as an ally. When you train yourself to seek discomfort, you're not making life harder, you're making yourself harder to break. You're building the muscle memory of resilience. You're learning to trust that, no matter what the storm takes from you, it cannot take you. But this is where discipline enters, because belief without discipline is a dream with no foundation. It's the scaffolding without the structure. It's the promise without the proof. Discipline is what turns belief into reality. Discipline is the choice to act not once, but again and again, even when the initial fire fades. Anyone can be passionate for a week. Few can be committed for a decade. Discipline is Carnegie reading by candlelight long after others have gone to bed. It's Muhammad Ali running before dawn, not for the cameras, but because he knew the ring was won long before the bell rang. It's every unseen repetition, every uncelebrated act, every refusal to give less than your best, no matter who's watching. And discipline, when it meets discomfort, becomes unstoppable. Because you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop making decisions based on how you feel in the moment, and start making them based on who you've decided to become. There will be days you feel empty. Days when the vision is fogged over, when the work feels meaningless, when the pain feels pointless. That is when most people fold. But if you have trained yourself to move forward through discomfort, not around it, not away from it, but through it, those are the days you grow the most. Because it is not in your moments of ease that you define yourself. It is in the moments when every part of you wants to stop, and you do not. Vision is the lighthouse in the dark. It is the image in your mind so vivid, so alive, that even when your body is exhausted and your spirit is frayed, you keep moving toward it. Without vision, discomfort becomes chaos. With vision, discomfort becomes fuel. The most dangerous life is not one of hardship, it is one of aimlessness. A ship can survive storms, but it cannot survive drifting forever. People think their problem is a lack of motivation, but most often, their problem is a lack of vision. They're not tired, they're directionless. When you have vision, every obstacle becomes part of the journey. The long nights, the failures, the uncertainty, they're not random, they're the shaping tools of your destiny. Look at Martin Luther King Jr. His vision was so clear that he could stand in the shadow of hatred, imprisonment, and death threats, and still speak of a dream. The world saw what was. He saw what could be. But vision without purpose is still incomplete. Purpose is the fire beneath the vision. Vision is where you're going. Purpose is why you're willing to pay the price to get there. Purpose is not always noble or grand in the eyes of others. Sometimes, it is as simple as the promise you made to yourself as a child, or the silent vow to prove that your pain will not be wasted. Purpose is personal. Purpose is sacred. And the moment you know your purpose, the discomfort becomes bearable, because it's no longer meaningless. It is the cost of admission to the life you've chosen. Yet knowing your vision and purpose means nothing without relentless action. This is where most falter. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect conditions. But the masters of every field will tell you, perfection never comes. What comes is the day you act without it. Relentless action is not glamorous. It is not the highlight reel. It is 1,000 tiny decisions that nobody sees. Choosing to work when you could rest, choosing to focus when you could drift, choosing to take one more step when your mind screams that you've done enough. Relentless action does not mean you move recklessly, it means you move consistently. Even in doubt. Even in fear. Especially in discomfort. Because momentum is built not from bursts of inspiration, but from the discipline of showing up every day, whether the world notices or not. Henry Ford didn't build the automobile empire overnight. He failed multiple businesses, went broke, was told he lacked the backing to succeed. But he kept moving, refining, building, until the machine he dreamed of existed in the hands of the people. Walt Disney, after being rejected by dozens of investors, didn't pause his vision until conditions were perfect. He kept creating, kept pitching, kept risking, until the gates of Disneyland opened and millions walked through a dream that once lived only in his mind. Relentless action forces you to confront discomfort again and again until it becomes familiar. It stops being the wall that blocks you and starts being the forge that shapes you. You learn that pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. And the beauty of this path is that each step you take in discomfort builds a deeper trust in yourself. You begin to realize that no matter how chaotic the storm, no matter how uncertain the road, you have something the world cannot take, your willingness to keep moving. When you act relentlessly, you stop chasing comfort and start chasing mastery. You stop asking, how can I avoid pain, and start asking, how can I grow stronger through it? That is the shift that separates those who live as they are told from those who live as they choose. And in that choice lies freedom, the freedom not from struggle, but through it. Gratitude is the anchor that keeps you steady when the waves rise high. Without it, the journey toward growth can twist into bitterness. You can become so focused on what's missing, on how far you have to go, that you forget to see the wealth already in your hands. Gratitude is not blind optimism. It doesn't pretend the struggle isn't real. It simply refuses to let struggle blind you to the beauty along the way. When Thomas Edison's lab burned to the ground, destroying years of work, he didn't collapse into despair. He looked at the flames and told his son, "Go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again." Gratitude didn't erase the loss, it gave him the strength to start again. When you practice gratitude in discomfort, you reframe the pain. The setback becomes a teacher. The delay becomes a gift of preparation. The challenge becomes proof you are alive, engaged, and moving forward. From gratitude flows adaptability. Because life will never unfold exactly as you expect. Your path will twist, your plans will break, and the conditions you thought you needed will vanish overnight. The rigid will resist, and in resisting, they will snap. The adaptable will bend, adjust, and continue forward. Adaptability is the quiet strength of the oak that weathers every season, and the cunning of the river that carves through stone by finding new routes. It is why some people crumble under change while others thrive in it. They have learned that discomfort is not always an obstacle, it is often an invitation to evolve. History is full of this truth. In the Great Depression, while many companies collapsed, others reimagined themselves and found new ways to serve. In the depths of war, some cities rebuilt stronger than before. The adaptable see not just what has been lost, but what can be created in its place. And this is where resilience is born. Resilience is not the absence of hardship, it is the refusal to be defined by it. It is forged in the same fires that destroy the unprepared. It is the child of discomfort and adaptability, the result of refusing to quit when quitting would be the easier path. Resilience is not a single heroic act. It is a daily decision. A decision to rise when you've been knocked down. To keep building when the foundation has cracked. To keep moving when the finish line disappears in the fog. Abraham Lincoln faced defeat after defeat, political losses, personal tragedy, crushing failures, yet he stood again, not because he was untouched by the blows, but because he had decided long before that no blow would be final. Resilience is what allows you to stand in the storm and say, "This will not break me. This will make me." It is what turns discomfort into a forge instead of a prison. And the secret most don't understand? You do not wait to be resilient until disaster strikes. You build resilience in the small moments, when you finish the task you wanted to abandon, when you keep your word even when it costs you, when you choose discipline over indulgence. Those moments prepare you for the days when the stakes are higher. Gratitude keeps you grounded. Adaptability keeps you moving. Resilience ensures you keep coming back stronger than before. And together, they turn discomfort from something to fear into something to embrace. Because at the end of it all, the goal is not to live a life free from pain. That is impossible. The goal is to live a life so deeply anchored in vision, purpose, gratitude, adaptability, and resilience that no pain can take you off your path. And now we arrive at the truth most spend their entire lives avoiding. That the life you dream of will not be given to you. It will not fall into your lap because you wished for it, prayed for it, or wrote it down in a journal. It will be carved from the stone of reality with your own hands, shaped through the blisters of effort and the fire of discomfort. Every breakthrough in human history began with someone who was willing to endure what others would not. Every masterpiece, every innovation, every revolution was born not in comfort, but in the crucible of challenge. Michelangelo did not paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling lying in a feather bed, he painted it standing for years on scaffolding, paint dripping into his eyes, neck stiff from bending backward toward the heavens. And here you are, standing in your own moment of decision. The same choice they all faced. The question is not whether you have the ability. The question is whether you have the courage to step willingly into the discomfort that will reveal it. Because the path will not flatter you. It will test you. It will strip you of every illusion of ease. It will expose your weaknesses, magnify your fears, and demand sacrifices you cannot yet imagine. And when you think you've given everything, it will demand more. But in return, it will give you yourself. The self you glimpse in moments of rare clarity. The self you've always known was inside you but buried beneath doubt, hesitation, and the comfort of the familiar. This is why the greats look back on their hardest seasons not with resentment, but with reverence. The storms that threatened to destroy them became the very storms that defined them. The nights they thought would break them became the nights they discovered their endurance. The failures they thought marked the end became the beginnings of something greater. One day, if you choose this path, you will stand in your own future and feel the same. You will look back at the discomfort you once feared and see it for what it truly was, not punishment, but preparation. Do not waste your life seeking a safe harbor. The harbor was never your destination. You were built for the open sea, for the winds that tear at your sails, for the waves that rise higher than you can see over, for the horizon that disappears and reappears like a promise you must chase. And when fear comes, and it will, welcome it. Let it remind you that you are alive, that you are on the edge of growth, that you are exactly where transformation happens. Fear is not your enemy, comfort is. Fear sharpens you. Comfort dulls you. Fear wakes you up. Comfort lulls you into forgetting who you could be. So, embrace the discomfort. Seek it. Stand in it until it loses its power over you. Let it refine you, define you, and strengthen you beyond recognition. And when the day comes that others ask how you did it, how you became the person you are, you will not tell them about the easy days. You will tell them about the trials, the rejections, the lonely nights, the failures that almost broke you, and how you kept going anyway. You will tell them that the discomfort was the key, that without it, you would still be the person you were before, dreaming instead of doing, waiting instead of becoming. This is your moment. The familiar is behind you. The unknown is ahead. And between the two lies the crucible that will shape you. Step into it. Endure it. Let it forge you into something so powerful, so unshakable, that you will never again question your own capacity. Because the truth is simple. If you want to grow, truly grow, you must stop chasing the comfort that keeps you small. You must walk straight into the fire, and trust that you will walk out forged in steel. Your future self is waiting there, just beyond the edge of discomfort. Go meet them.